So as we go through the soul stones, anything that exiles
The Infinity
artifacts.
Stones.
What did I say?
You said the soul stones.
Yeah. The Infinity Stones, which includes the Soul Stone. Haywire might just.
Are you tired of us saying stone?
Yeah.
Get me pictures of that wall crawling menace. It's Spider-Man.
Woo! It's time, baby.
All new spoiler season, all new set for your favorite masked vigilante of mayhem, depending on who you ask.
I lean on friendly neighborhood. Are you leaning on menace?
Oh, it just depends on the universe, I suppose, because we have a multiverse of spider people for our brand new magic set, Spider-Man.
Yes, sir. We've reached this point. We've jumped the sharks, and now we are at Marvel's Spider-Man, the Magic the Gathering set.
Woohoo! And this is your boys at the MTG Thoughtcast. My name is John, and across the screen or across your ears is my brother, Joseph.
Heyo, I'm reporting to you on location today from the friendly neighborhood Pawleys Island, South Carolina. So on vacation right now, so I might sound and look a little different, hopefully a bit more relaxed. And that's me. I'm Joseph. You're one of your other hosts here at the MTG Thoughtcast.
And today you've got me hopefully taking lead on you here on the first of our Marvel collaborations for Magic the Gathering. But where can you follow along with all of these spoilers? Actually, probably by the time you're listening to this, I think the spoilers are done. But if you'd like to catch up on everything related to Spider-Man, Joseph, where can our friends of the podcast visit us?
Oh, you can look right down there. We've got a Discord link. Totally free, our Discord server. We hang out there, we play Commander games, we brew decks, we talk spoilers. It's the best place on the internet to find all of those things, and it's the best place on the internet to find the two of us. So if you want that, links down below, totally free. While you're down there, if you want to support the channel, also for totally free, you can just hit all those YouTube buttons, subscribes, likes, comments, skip over the dislike button, you horrible people. All of those help tell the algorithm that you want to see and hear us more often in your feeds, which we're very grateful for. If you're one of those folks who've been supporting us in the last little while from day one, maybe this is your first episode, shout out to you guys. We appreciate you guys all being here. Thanks for all the support over the last little while.
Come join our Spider-Verse. You all get a cool watch.
Absolutely.
Our last bit of upkeep is if you're looking for the greatest in gaming protection for all of your brand new Spider-Man cards or any other decks and cards that you're looking to play at your game tables or on spell table or whatever you're looking to do, be sure to check out our sponsors of the show, Heavy Play. The greatest gaming accessories with the Equip Mag system, joining together all of their tabletop accessories and the curved sleeves for the most comfortable in-deck protection.
Absolutely. We could go into I've actually gone into a whole video about how much we love the Equip Mag system and Heavy Play and all those things. That's like platinum tier supporting our channel, and you get sweet accessories for it as well. You can use code MTG Thoughtcast at checkout for 10% off of your first order with Heavy Play, or click the link down below. It's heavyplay.com/MTG Thoughtcast for all of your gaming accessory needs, supporting the channel. We love those guys over at Heavy Play. Shout out to them. John, as we get into spoiler season for Spider-Man, and we're talking all of the what seems like billions of new Spider-Man cards, I need to know, as a baseline, what's your favorite Spider-Man?
Well, yeah, that's tricky, I suppose, right? Because Spider-Man, probably more than most any Marvel hero, has definitely got the most as far as variations and multiverse styles and things, whatever. I don't know. There is just something so iconic about the classic red and blue with the black and the webbing and things of that nature, whatever. I guess for myself personally, I've always really liked Scarlet Spiders with the blue hood and the spider on it. You and I, obviously, we have a classic attachment to some of the old video games. The Mark One armor with like the disco plating on it, with like the silver, and that's
Interesting.
that's a favorite of mine. I love anything that's like shiny chrome and silver.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites as well.
It's funny. I think that Spider-Man suits and Spider-Man entities and variations are very similar to how people talk about SNL, where it's like whatever you grew up with is your favorite version of it. And I
Yeah.
think you and I similarly shared maybe an introductory Spider-Man experience, which was the first Spider-Man for PS1. Which was on top of the buildings. You're swinging between them. There's no logic in how you're swinging. You've got just
You start,
insane
you hit start, you click yourself down to easy mode because the
kid
game is too
mode.
hard. Kid
Kid
mode.
mode.
Spider
Exactly.
spider logo zooms out. Welcome, wall crawlers and spider enthusiasts. It's Stan Lee there. He
Of
narrates your
course.
opening. You're across the dude, guys. This
Yes.
is can you tell we kind of grew up on a little bit of this Spider-Man stuff, and this
Yeah.
is very huge and exciting for us.
Well, what I was going to say is that informs my favorite spider suit, which is Super Bag Boy.
Bombastic
With
Bagman, yes.
the bombastic bag man. I was trying to remember what the name of it was. It's like the Fantastic Four suit with the bag on his head, literally a paper bag on his head. I was just always so drawn to that as a kid, and I really hope that as we go through spoiler season here, that perhaps we get a bombastic bag man to go along with it.
There is a card.
Is it one of the
There's,
variations of the Fantastic Spider-Man?
Sort of. The collector boosters have an opportunity for that. I think it's called costume change on the white card, the sensational Spider-Man, I believe it is. It's that one that has like flash and can like protect your board or whatever.
For sure.
Collector boosters have a very low chance to get that artwork done in different costume suits, and Bombastic Bagman is one of them, along with actually like the Mark one that I was talking about, plus like I think Sensational and Future Foundation and the black suit one and all this kind of stuff. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're now
well,
talking
I was actually
about
going to say this is a great segue. That was the Spectacular Spider-Man. This was one of our first spoilers for this. It's 1 and a white for a 3/2 with flash. It's for you can pay a single mana to give him flying until end of turn, and you can pay 1 and sacrifice him to give creatures you control hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. That's a lot of cool abilities on this. The fact that he can sacrifice himself for a heroic intervention. Like, it's literally just the card, heroic intervention, on our favorite superhero giving his intervention for your team. This whole set, if this is any indicator of it, is flavor forward. This is one of the most flavorful sets that I feel like I've seen them do in the last while. Like, this is unbelievably top-down design of like, what do all of the Spider-Men across the Spider-Verse do if you were to paint them in a Magic card. And that's what we're talking about today, is just all of the hype, all of the new mechanics, a few of the new mechanics, and just some exciting new cards that you could be looking forward to from the Marvel Spider-Man set. This is a standard boosters set for Magic the Gathering, which Mark Rosewater has said, head designer of Magic, Mark Rosewater, has said is going to be smaller than a standard, like your Final Fantasy set. Let's use that as a reference point. Spider-Man's going to be smaller than that. It's not going to be as small as the epilogue boosters, but it is going to be a smaller set that is designed for 4-player draft. That's new.
Yeah, they are incorporating this new like pick 2 draft formatting kind of thing that could be led forward into future sets as well, to kind of help like they can kind of diminish down the size of a set if they don't have to incorporate a large like 10 color draft environment for that product. The drafting of this set is kind of focused in, I think it's 5 different draft archetypes.
5 archetypes across colors, so it's not a full 10 set of, like you said, 2 color archetypes. And the way that a 4-player draft works is, you obviously, as the name says, you have 4 players, 3 packs each, and then rather than picking 1 card from a pack and passing it, you're picking 2 cards per pack and passing it. So I still, as a primarily limited player, I have some qualms with this. You're literally cutting half of the normal limited pool down, even though you're getting to pick 2. So they're trying to compensate for synergy with extra synergy by picking 2 as compared to having 4 more players worth of booster packs in the limited pool that will be going around. So we'll see how this goes. This will be the first set that's designed for that. And like I said, part of that is it's just a smaller set with less archetypes and just a more focused look at Spider-Man in Magic.
All the spiders of men, exactly.
Yes.
And yeah, I believe, like you had mentioned, because this is one of the first sets that we're seeing their overhaul change, right? Because by my understanding on what the like design philosophy in the background of this was going on is that this set basically started out life very similar to the Assassin's Creed one that we saw last year.
Yes, that's
And
like the epilogue style set.
right. And so there was enough time between what happened with March of the Machine Aftermath and this that they were able to course correct that a little bit to be able to include more cards into the set, make it draftable, and then with the inclusion of them starting to make these Universes Beyond booster sets standard legal, change and modify power levels on certain cards to better fit the standard environment.
Exactly.
You know? So the set is probably still looking a little weird. There's also been some weird behind the scenes stuff as far as like what was actually allowed as far as the licensing deals between like what was available on cards, whatever. There's been some weird stuff behind the scenes going on with that. We're not really here to talk about much of that today. What we're looking to focus on today as part of this episode is just kind of covering and showing you some of the cool stuff that you can open and play with as part of this booster set.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, it's a lot of spiders. Most of these Spider-Men are legendary creatures. We have common legendaries for the first time. I mean, we had one common legendary with Modern Horizons 3, but we've not really had common legendaries in like 20 plus years. So there's a few of them that are in this set. So the legendary is a theme of this set, and it is definitely a spider kindred set. There's a lot of things that care about spiders. Most of the Spider-Men are spider human heroes.
Yep.
And then like a lot of human scientist villains. I would say that's sort of the 2 major players of creature types in the set, and there's plenty of them.
Absolutely. But let's start with some of those new game mechanics that are going to be introduced as part of here. Would probably, I'd say the more interesting of the 2 is going to be on our assorted spider heroes, which is going to be the web slinging. So, web slinging is a new alternate casting cost featured on assorted, actually spells. Like initial previews just showed them on creatures, but there actually have also been like a spell or 2 that also has web slinging. And the idea behind it is that you are picking up a creature of yours to be able to pay for an alternate cost. So, like my key example card that I wanted to showcase for this is Spider-Man India.
Yeah, baby.
Spider-Man India is normally 3 green and a white for a 4/4 legendary creature spider human hero, but also has web slinging for 1 green and a white. You may cast this spell for its 1 green and a white if you also return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand. And then the remaining ability, which is why I wanted to talk about Spider-Man India specifically, because I think more so than any, this creature is the one who synergizes the heaviest with the web slinging thing of whenever you cast a creature spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control and it gains flying to the end of turn. Hey, guess what you've just done with casting it by web slinging? You've picked up a creature back to your hand. Now you then get to replay that said thing that you picked up with the web slinging after getting Spider-Man India here down for cheaper, right? A 3-mana 4/4 that when you then replay the thing that you just picked up, probably a mana dork, he'll then get a counter like either onto himself or whatever else you're still sitting on in play, and it gains flying.
Dang, I had not even thought about the fact that you could like pick up an Elvish Mystic with this. In my mind, this was always a post-combat mechanic that will, you attack with something, whatever survives that attack, you then pick up and play it, which obviously is an angle for web slinging. But you could play this on turn 2 with Elvish Mystic or Birds of Paradise or whatever, where you just like pay the 3 and now you have a tapped creature that you can return back to your hand for the web slinging. That's a sick synergy.
Precisely. And then, like I said, the fact that, he cares, obviously, future term as every single creature you cast, but specifically the one you pick back up, as long as it's not a non-token, he'll synergize with that play as well. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, the other one I wanted to showcase who had a really cool web slinging ability is going to be the first of our modal double face transformable legendary creatures. Because
Dang.
I do want to talk about all these because I actually think they're some of the marquee cards of this set. Just the design behind them, what they do, and their overall gameplay. Plus, obviously, as commander people, legendary creatures that opens it up to casting options and colors is obviously really really cool to talk about.
Oh, definitely.
And
Anything that's like starts cheap in one color that can then, be flexibility. Hashtag flexibility. It's our thing here.
Yeah. So our friend who's showcasing that is our boy himself, Peter Parker.
Yeah,
Just
baby.
standard classic Peter. 1 and a white for a 0/1 human scientist hero. He enters and you create a 2/1 green spider creature token with reach. And then an activated ability for 1 in Bant to transform him, activate only as a sorcery, transforms to his backside as Amazing Spider-Man, who also has a casting cost of 1 and Bant. This is the first time that we've seen a modal double face card who has a transformable ability from one of its front sides. We've seen modal double face cards before with things like Kaldheim and Zendikar and a bunch of other sets that do that. And then transform has obviously been a long running mechanic with like Innistrad and things of that nature. But this is one of the first instances where they've kind of mishmashing that thing together. So what that means for Commander is actually very similarly to the Kaldheim double face ones, is that you can cast either side of this card if you want to. It's just if you cast the Peter Parker side, you have the option to transform him to his other side as well.
Yep, it is very sick. This is such a cool, like you said, just a blending of those two. Now, what's interesting is there's no way to transform it back from Spider-Man to Peter Parker. So if
Unless you blink it.
yeah, of course. If you blink it, this still counts as the backside, right? So it for sure comes back in as Peter Parker if you blink it.
Correct. Yes.
Interesting. And then you could obviously transform later for the I love that the transform is the casting cost of the other side. So
That's correct.
It's not like you have any like there's just no if I play this early then I get punished because it's going to cost me more to transform it later. It's literally both spells in one combined because spoiler alert, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Guys, I don't mean to alert you all, but his secret identity is Peter Parker. That web sling ability is really cool, giving the cost reduction of a single Bant mana to any of your future legendaries, which for the subsequent Spider-Man, if you're playing those, that means you could play the more expensive backsides because they're modal dual faced as a single set of Bant mana, green, white, and blue. So this just makes it really easy to cast your future subsequent spells.
Yeah, I imagine Amazing is probably really, really cool to play with legendaries who naturally come in with extra bodies as well. That gives you the extra feel. Because remember, web slinging does require you to return a tapped creature to your hand. That works totally fine with tokens. If you're just like, find a way to tap down a token, play down some big, stupid legendary creature for Bant that then creates you a bunch of other bodies and you tap them down with something like Cryptolith Rite or whatever. Now you're using your tokens for mana, pick up one of them, play something big, dumb, and stupid afterwards. It seems very cool. Amazing Spider-Man definitely feels like one of the stronger of these modal ones that we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, super, super good.
So that basically covers everything for web slinging. The other new mechanic that this set features is a new sort of discard outlet related one called Mayhem. It's, for lack of a better term, this is madness, but fixed, I suppose.
It's different than Madness, I would say. I see the comparison, but they do feel very different to me.
Very different. Okay.
Because what Madness does, let's talk about that for a second. Madness is a triggered ability that when you would discard this thing, it immediately gets exiled, and then you can cast it from exile. If not, it comes back into the graveyard. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. So in that instant, now granted, that also breaks timing restrictions on things.
Which is
so
stupid powerful.
Which is stupid. If you mayhem a sorcery at instant speed, you get to play a sorcery at instant speed, which is very, very good.
Or madness, you should say. If you madness a sorcery.
That's what I meant to say. If you madness.
You said mayhem.
I was thinking about mayhem too much. So mayhem, the way it's worded, is you may cast this card from your graveyard for 1 on a red if you discarded it this turn. So it's not a triggered ability. There is no chance for your opponents to respond to it. And I think that's what makes it the most important. Where if you discard something with Madness and somebody has a Tormod's Crypt, they can crack it before it gets exiled, and then you get around the madness. Whereas with Mayhem, it's just a replacement effect of the if you discarded it this turn, you may cast it from the graveyard.
Right. And
now,
and
granted, timing rules still apply.
Yeah, and to correct you on one thing as well, the mayhem cost can change from card to card. I know you said one cost in specific. There are different cards that have different mayhem costs depending on the card itself. So like my example I wanted to show is Ultimate Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Cost regularly is 1 and 2 hybrids of Rakdos mana, but then naturally also comes with Mayhem of 2 and a single hybrid of Rakdos. So the Mayhem cost is just like Madness, can be different from card to card. And then Ultimate Green Goblin himself, when he's down in play, he's a 5/4 legendary goblin villain, and at the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card, then create a treasure token.
Dude, that's correct. That reminds me of not Thrasios, because that's the green-blue thing. There is a pirate that's an arena-only card that's like 3 mana for a 3/3, and you discard something and then seek either higher or lower mana value and make a treasure.
Dude.
Just show it on the screen. I can't remember his name. It's close to Thrasios. I know it is.
This one. That thing.
Yeah, this feels so similar to that. And having that Mayhem ability of it makes it easier to reduce the cost of, you only need a single pip rather than 2 of them. Really, really cool card. The other thing that I love about Mayhem is that, like this discards at the beginning of your upkeep. So you're obviously playing this with other Mayhem cards. You get until the end of your turn to decide whether you want to cast that or not. Whereas with Madness, you have to decide in that exact moment. Mayhem, you discard it, and then it just sits there for the rest of your turn, and then just remains a part of your hand for the Mayhem cost. I really, really love that.
I'm imagining some kind of build that's taking advantage of like discarding several varieties of cards, maybe costing pretty cheap or whatever, to some effect that generates you mana or tokens that help you create some mana. Like this thing, as a matter of fact, it makes you treasures. Then you're clearing the board with stuff like board wipes and spot removal, and then following that up with the stuff that you mayhemmed.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
there's
so much flexibility in Mayhem and how it works. I do wish it was worded, like the actual keyword for it was slightly farther away than Madness, because that's really tough for my brain to differentiate those two when they're so close. But overall,
you want to talk about confusing Mayhem? Let's showcase our next modal double face card, Norman Osborn.
Ooh, Norman.
It's our boy, the other goblin himself.
I'll read through this one, John. This is
go for it, dude.
1 and a blue for a 1/1 human scientist villain. And he can't be blocked. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you connive. That is also a bit of a returning mechanic for this set, is that a lot of the villains are conniving. They're twisting their mustaches.
Which is very cool that the villains get that, because Mayhem is also sort of their marquee mechanic as far as the set is concerned. And the two of those being together is super cool, because connive, for those unfamiliar, is drawing a card, then discarding a card. Aha. And if you discarded a non-land card, you put a 1/1 counter on the creature that connived.
Yep. And then so he's a 1/1, and then he has 1 blue, black, and red. So it's Grixis color identity to transform him, or like the Spider-Man, you can just play the backside for 1 blue, black, and a red. And the backside is Green Goblin. It's a legendary goblin human villain. He's a 3/3 with flying and menace that says spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast. And then the goblin formula is each non-land card in your graveyard has mayhem. The mayhem cost is equal to its mana value. So as you discard cards, they just have mayhem in the graveyard, which means that you can just cast them from the graveyard
for 2 less.
Yeah, exactly, because the cost becomes equal to the mana value, and then Green Goblin reduces them by 2. So what I love about this is that in the same turn, you could attack with Norman. He's unblockable. You do your 1 damage. He connives. You discard something cool. you then pay the 4 and flip him into Green Goblin. And the thing that you discarded with Norman, because it's in your graveyard and has the Mayhem ability and was discarded this turn, you then get access to cast it. So like they don't feel like they play well together, but on the turn where you discard something cool with Norman, you can just flip into the Green Goblin and cast it for 2 cheaper. So really, really sick stuff there.
There's also some really cool play of just, like fueling your long-term plans, because as some people will remember, when a permanent transforms, it does not leave the battlefield. So you connive with Norman for some amount of turns, and then when you decide to flip him over to Green Goblin, any 1/1 counters that connive has put on Norman will remain on Green Goblin.
Yep. I love it. It's, so fun. There's also, as we've seen plenty of times over the last few sets, there is a bunch of sagas in this set as well, which makes sense. We're talking about comic book characters. That's a saga. And even some of the arcs of comic books are referred to as the blank saga. So the fact that they've made legitimate comic books into sagas, as a comic book fan, this is such a cool way to tell these stories. So I'm looking at Kraven's Last Hunt right now.
Oh, Kraven's Last Hunt? Oh, okay.
Insanely good comic book to begin with, but Kraven's Last Hunt is 3 and a green. Obviously, it's a saga, so it's an enchantment. It enters, you put the first lore counter on it, and then after your draw step, you put another lore counter on it. So first lore ability is you mill 5 cards. When you do, this saga deals damage equal to the greatest power among creature cards in your graveyard to target creature. So it checks your massive thing in the graveyard, and it shoots from there to whatever you want to. And then second lore ability is target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Third lore ability is return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. This is just a great value piece. This is a rare from the set. But I think this is a good opportunity to talk about some alt arts, John.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you see that comic panel one. I'll showcase it here for our video listeners, but sorry for our audio listeners, I suppose. But yeah, there is some very stellar alternate art treatments on these. Of the ones that are showcased, I really do like the ones that look like they have comic panels as sort of the frames or whatever, right?
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the Saga one. That one's really cool. There's also legendary creatures who also have their type line and their box, whatever. It all looks like it's in comic book panels, whatever. The spider frame one, the ones that look like it's got webbing everywhere, those look way too cluttered. I don't like those at all.
If you're into those, you're into those, but it's not for us here.
But the comic panel ones look really, really sick. The other saga I wanted to bring up is the Clone Saga. That one looks so silly. This saga is 3 in a blue. It's got 3 lore chapters on it. For chapter 1, you surveil 3. For chapter 2, when you next cast a creature spell this turn, you copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. And then at chapter 3, you choose a card name, and whenever a creature with the chosen name deals combat damage to a player this turn, you draw a card.
Yeah, nuts. That's so good.
I'd love this, coming down on 4, and then you just get right to your chapter 2 on the next turn, and you go to cast your commander. You'll get your commander and a non-legendary copy of your commander.
Yep. I love it, man. I feel like that's a good time to talk about imposter syndrome as well.
Yes,
if we're talking about hype about the Spider-Man set, it's the Spider-Man pointing at each other meme. Imposter syndrome is a 6 mana enchantment. It's 4 and double blue. For whenever a non-token creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. Bro, this is nuts.
Is this the best big blue mythic clone thing ever? I'd say
that's rich coming from you as a fan of 6 mana enchantments that do nothing on their own, because this not only do you have to pay 6 mana for this and have it sit there, but then your creatures also have to deal combat damage. So there's a lot of ifs to this, but as soon as you start firing off clones of something, you just take over the game with it. And let alone if you have anything with a good ETB, anything that cares about having multiple copies of itself, anything that gives boosts, any of that, this becomes cracked, I would say.
Yeah, very good in a deck where you naturally are coming with evasion, like you had mentioned. It also sort of acts as like a pseudo vigilance kind of thing, right? With like if the creature that is
Yeah.
able to get in, you're making another, granted non-token, so you have to make sure you're getting in with the non-token one, but then you're making a token copy that sits back as well. It's like all the stupid stuff that you can do with Helm of the Host, but on an enchantment, and it triggers off of anything that's a non-token. It's
Yeah, you're
very
right. That's
silly.
actually a really great reference point, is that it's Helm of the Host for all of your creatures.
What's some
That's
legendary creatures you'd want to make token copies of? I'd like to bring us back to the modal double face cards. We're going to go ahead and talk about the other three that are available as part of the set. We already talked about Peter and Norman. Let's see. Do you want to start with Eddie Brock?
So Eddie Brock is another one of our flip legendaries here. For those who know, in the comics, this is the main host of our favorite symbiote, Venom. So he's 2 and a black for a legendary creature, human hero villain. So he plays into
I
both of
love
those
that.
roles. Me
I
too,
love
man,
that.
because he's like the anti-hero.
He's the lethal protector.
Literally. So when Eddie Brock enters, he's a 3/3 as well. When Eddie Brock enters, you return target creature with mana value 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's already good enough for me. I love a reanimator spell. I love reanimating little things. This is Aristocrats up and down. And then you can pay 6 mana. So that's 3 black, red, and a green to transform or play the backside of Venom from your hand. And that is Venom Lethal Protector, which is a symbiote hero villain. 6 mana for a 5/5 with menace, trample, and haste. Whenever he attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you draw X cards, then you may put a permanent card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, where X is the sacrificed creature's mana value. So this is like very similar to like the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy stapled onto Venom, and it just requires you to sacrifice something with a ton of power. So
I'm more thinking along the lines of like Corvold, where it's like he wants to be eating stuff for cards and value and things of that nature. If Venom gets in same regard. You eat something off of your board, you get cards equal to whatever that mana value was.
because of the front side of this being Eddie Brock, and you're already reanimating little things, like you're already playing your like Stitchers suppliers and things like that want to like enter and die. I'm really excited. This is probably my favorite of the flip ones. I also just love Venom, like Black Suit Spider-Man, Venom, Eddie Brock, all of that is like my favorite. Justice for Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's trilogy. I still think that movie slapped. So
no, I get it. You're also a Jund enjoyer. You love this kind of stuff.
The fact that it's a Jund deck is sweet.
I love it. This one's very fun. Moving on then from Venom, we'll go to Gwen Stacy.
You talk about this one.
Yeah, Gwen is 1 and a red for a 2/1 legendary human performer hero. When Gwen enters, you exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control this creature, which is notable. It's worded that way because, again, like we had talked about, transforming remains the creature on the battlefield, so it doesn't leave or exit or anything to that degree, so you don't lose access to that card. When you would go to pay its transform cost of 2 blue, red, and a white, transform Gwen Stacy, and it transforms into Ghost Spider, who also, like the other modal cards that we've been talking about, has a casting cost of 2 blue, red, and a white. Legendary creature, Spider Human Hero is a 4/4 with flying, vigilance, haste. Whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on Ghost Spider and remove 2 counters from Ghost Spider as an activated ability cost. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn.
My only issue with this card is that it's not green because I can't play it in my Rocco Street Chef deck.
I know. Sounds like you're converting Rocco to Jeskai.
No, green's so good in that deck.
No, this one's cool. I think it's my least favorite of the modal ones here, but it's not to say that it isn't any less powerful. Like, you obviously see the synergy that it's looking to do here. You're looking to play Gwen on the front side here. She sends a card off into exile. Again, like we had mentioned about, that remains there for as long as you control the creature, which if you don't play that card until you flip to the other side of it, you still get to be able to cast that thing that she originally exiled from the front side. And then just a constant flow activated ability of just removing counters off of her to send more gas into exile, which will also continue to trigger her own top half ability. So you get this like weird flow of she's just synergizing with herself of throwing counters on herself as you're casting things from exile, and then activated ability that allows you to get more fuel put into exile that will then continue to put more counters on herself, and you just get this engine churning of value.
100%. Yeah, it's really sick. I mean, my Rocco deck plays very similarly to this, where you want to be playing Discover and Cascade and all of the things that Impulse draw, just so that all of your card advantage is everywhere other than your hand. And then you just get counters, then you can turn those counters into more value. Like, it's awesome. It's a really cool strategy that just plays into like, your hand might be small, but your advantage is still massive. I would say this flip legendary, more than some of the others, definitely wants to play the front side first. Obviously, they all have advantages to be playing the front side and then flipping them, but this one fuels itself by playing the front side and then flipping it, so that you already have one. If you're just playing Ghost Spider for 5 as it is, it doesn't fuel itself until you either put counters on it or start exiling things, where if you play Gwen Stacy first, it does both of those things.
Yep. I mean, it's still also cool. They've got Flying Vigilance Haste on the front side. We've come a long way since the days of Mantis Rider.
God, we certainly have. Another neat thing is if you play Gwen Stacy early and have some engine that starts dumping counters on Gwen Stacy, the transform does not exile and re-enter. So all of those counters that you play just stay on the transformed side. So if you have we
talked about that with Norman, whereas like if you connive on the Norman side as you're going in with combat damage for him, or as we're about to talk with our next one here, Miles Morales, same thing. If you got counters placed on him or anything else that's able to transform, the counters will remain.
Yeah, so Miles Morales is 1 green for a 1/2 legendary human citizen hero. Whenever he enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. And then
Can be himself.
Can be himself. And then for 3 and then red, green, white, so Naya color identity, you can flip him or play the backside initially as Ultimate Spider-Man. This is a spider human hero. He's 4/3 first strike and haste, and he's got a camouflage ability of 2 generic mana, put a +1/+1 counter on Ultimate Spider-Man. He gains hexproof and becomes colorless until the end of turn.
That is stupid.
Such a sick ability. And then whenever you attack, you double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and legendary you control. This is cracked, dude. This is so good.
You don't even need to attack with him. It just says whenever you attack, he'll just sit there. Like you said, you play Miles on his front side, put one of the counters on himself, transform him to this side. He's now sitting there with first strike, haste if you want to swing in with him, an instant speed hexproof ability that also dodges all his dust, and you go attacking with anything else. You double the counters up. This stupid. I'm very obsessed with Miles. I'm so excited to see this one in action.
Yeah, and like rereading that, I reread this one a couple of times while you were just talking to make sure I didn't misspeak on it. It is double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and each legendary creature you control. So this is not just Spider-Man Kindred. This is like counters and legendary creatures, putting counters of any kind on them. It just doubles them over and over and over. Obviously, you want to do extra combat steps with this. You want to do like this with all of the Aurelias, dude, that like give you extra combat steps and things like that. You just start piling counters onto Aurelia, and he doubles the counters on those because they're legendary.
Yep.
Miles is crazy. This is a really good one. And then, just as long as you leave 2 mana up, how do you get rid of this?
Stupid. I
So
mean,
good,
I mean,
dude.
you could wrath. Yeah, totally. I get it, but
Yeah.
whew,
Well,
man,
it's funny that
I'm
you bring up All Is Dust because I've not seen an All Is Dust played in 15 years, but I have seen all of the Ugins played. And all those Ugins all say like exile target permanent that has one or more colors. So not only does the 2 mana give you the hexproof from that, but if they have some way around hexproof, it still becomes colorless. This is crazy.
yep.
Yeah, Miles I think might be the best of them.
Absolutely. It's if not tied with like the sort of like Peter feels maybe a little bit more combo build where Miles definitely feels aggressive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Well,
he's going
Peter
straight in
Peter
for it.
feels a bit like Satoru Umezawa to me, where it's like he gives, Satoru gives ninjutsu to creatures in your hand. Um, Peter Parker feels kind of similar to that, where it's like you're just gonna slam down some like Eldrazi or some like Titans or whatever for 3 mana. It's almost like cheating stuff into play. Whereas Miles is like, I'm going wide with legendary creatures and spiders, and I'm putting counters on them, and it's gonna be awesome.
I love it. I'd say at this point, talking about powerful, should we talk about the $200 elephant in the room?
Yeah, would love to.
Yeah? Tell me
Talk
your
to me about it.
thoughts. Tell me your thoughts about the soul stone.
$200? Oh
Yeah?
my god. I think that the Soul Stone is insanely good. I actually,
Really?
you might disagree with me on this. I really like
100%
the
disagree
design of
with you.
it. Um, I love, I love everything about it. I'm gonna be perfectly honest.
All right, go for it. Read it.
So Soul Stone, this is our first Infinity Stone that we're seeing. Have we confirmed that we're getting 2 per set?
No, there's only one in this set.
Okay, so we might get like 1 and then 2 and then 3 to finish them off because there's 6 Infinity Stones. You're the Marvel expert here.
There are 6 Infinity Stones, yes.
Okay. So anyway, the Soul Stone, this is our first of them. This is 1 and a black mana for a legendary artifact, Infinity Stone, unless you're playing on Arena, which is from the Omen Path, and it's a Terminus Stone. So
Yay.
it's a legendary Infinity Stone. It's indestructible, and it has tap to add a black mana. So it's just a really good indestructible mana rock if you're already playing black. And
Yes,
then
it
for
is.
6 in a black, you can exile a creature you control to harness the Soul Stone. And what that does is it activates its final infinity symbol ability. That means it's harnessed. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is a mana rock that becomes a repeatable reanimation device later in the game.
Yep.
That's bananas.
It's
Um,
it's
I
strong.
can't I can't think of any reason why a black deck would not want to play this because
I can think of one really good reason.
it's $200.
It's $200. That's
Yep.
what. This is stupid. I'm despise this. I've gone on record. Most people who know this show know how much I hate the Great Henge. There's no reason for long-term staple mana rocks that can be fit into any type of build. There's no reason that they should be this powerful. There's no reason that your core of what makes a deck is barred by how much you can put onto your credit card. I hate
100%.
it. I mean, I guess we'll have to see where this settles. Like on my scale of it, like, do I think that a card like this is more? It's hard to say. Like, where would you compare this to the One Ring? Like, I understand that the abilities that they do are kind of different, but on overall raw power, would you think the One Ring is more powerful than this?
Yes, I do because it's colorless. You have to be playing a black deck to play this. And that's I think where I land on it is this is now a black staple in EDH. There's literally no reason why you wouldn't play this in a deck. And I think that is one of my issues with the design of it. I do want one. Obviously, I would love to have one of these and play it. I think in my mind, I'm treating this as a game changer, where
I
if
agree.
I get one, because like We're not sponsored by WotC. We can talk about proxies here. I think if you want to put this in a deck, you have access to do so if you have a printer and you have a play group that's cool with that. And I think that that's lovely. Obviously not for tournaments, obviously not for prizes. But if you're playtesting this or you want to play with it, just proxy it, just throw it in there, see what's going on. If you have a play group that's cool with that. I personally don't like proxying if I'm not playing CEDH. Most CEDH tournaments allow for proxies. So I do that for that explicit purpose when I'm playing in CEDH tournaments. Outside of that, I like the deck building restriction of only playing with cards that I own. The Soulstone, my actual problem with it is that when WotC started introducing Universes Beyond, they said this game is like a buffet and you can choose what you'd like to. You don't have to play with everything. You don't have to buy all the products. You don't have to buy all the cards. But then they go and print stuff like this, which is if you're playing a black deck and you're not playing the Soulstone, you are hampering yourself by doing so.
That's my issue with this, right? And again, that's the thing I say on repeat about the Great Henge, which is why I really don't like the Great Henge.
Yeah, I think that that's actually a really good comparison. Great Henge and the Soulstone feel very similar. I think the Soulstone is actually significantly more powerful than the Great Henge because it doesn't require anything other than 2 mana to play this. It's indestructible. It's going to be really difficult to get rid of it. Hey, go back to my cards you should pick up from rotation and why I said you should pick up Haywire Mites as a part of what you're doing, because anything that exiles these indestructible artifacts that are non-creatures, the value of them just goes significantly higher now. So as we go through the Soulstones, anything that exiles
the Infinity
artifacts.
Stones.
What did I say?
You said the Soulstones.
Yeah, the Infinity Stones, which includes the Soulstone. Haywire might just.
Are you tired of us saying stone?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Haywire might just becomes a staple for me now, instead of the Soulstone. So like, it just gives way more value to that. It just gives way more value to anything that can exile artifacts. So that's the Soulstone, though. I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think of the Soulstone and the seemingly new trend of you have to be picking up Universes Beyond product to be playing Commander at current level Commander. And then do we think I think the price will go down. What I'm looking at right now
I hope so.
is the TCG player current price for it is $129, which is still nuts. We're obviously not at release yet. I think once release comes, that will come down slightly. This is obviously the chase card of this. This is the One Ring. This is VV Ornator. This is the Soulstone. We just have a new, there is $100+ chase card in sets now, and the Soulstone is that for Spider-Man.
Which just feels incredibly awkward as well, just despite everything else as well, right? Like I'm sure there are comic stories who care about that kind of thing, but how out of left field does this card feel being in a set dedicated to Spider-Man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Soulstone. And then even the alt art that has Thanos on it, what's going on here?
Yeah. So, leaving that realm, I suppose all that's really left to talk about is any other cool cards that you want to highlight and showcase as this is something really cool that you're excited to pick up, and then I guess we can hit our wrap up.
I think the only thing I really want to talk about is the largest grouping of character types that has ever been printed on a card. This is a Spider-Ham Peter Porker. This is 1 and a green for a 2/2 legendary Spider Boar hero. When it enters, you create a food token.
Delicious.
It should be a food itself, let's be honest. Sorry, PETA, sue me. Talk about more like PETA Parker, you know what I mean? It's the people, the animals.
I got you.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, it's got Animal Mayhem as the ability that says other spiders, boars, bears, bats, birds, cats, dogs, frogs, jackals, lizards, mice, otters, rabbits, raccoons, rats, squirrels, turtles, and wolves you control get +1/+1. That is so many. This is just Bloomburrow gets +1/+1.
All you Bloomburrow enjoyers, you get a brand new toy, and it's Spider Ham.
That's right. Ooh, dude, we need to talk about Spider Punk as well.
Oh, yes, sir. I wanted to talk about him.
The contention that I've seen in the CDH subreddits about this, which is either this breaks CDH or please don't play this in CDH. So Spider-Punk is 1 in a red for a. Actually, you talk about it, John.
Yeah, Spider-Punk, 1 in a red for a legendary creature Spider-Human hero. He's a 2/1. He's got Riot. This is one of the cards that is like one of those like cameo mechanics that's in the set. Riot is not like in the set as a whole. A creature with Riot either enters with your choice of haste or a +1/+1 counter. Other spiders you control have Riot. Spells and abilities can't be countered, and damage can't be prevented.
That's crazy.
And that is battlefield wide. So even if
that's
you're
global.
Yep, that's global. So your 2 control players can't counter each other's stuff because Spider-Punk says, stop that. No, everything resolves.
And this is, I think, the side of it that I land on is that I don't like this card for that reason. Because in a 4-player game, whoever plays this, yes, is not going to have their spells countered. But like the other combo player is now safe to go off because somebody else is playing Spider-Punk. So definitely play more reprieves with this around. Play more remands. Anything that exiles spells off the stack, like just Voidrend just gets a non-land permanent, right?
Yes.
I don't know what I'm thinking of. There's something that just exiles a spell off the stack. Yeah, anything like that. Like Mindbreak Trap, things like that. It's just like exile all spells on the stack. Things like that get a ton more value.
Which is so funny you bring up Mindbreak Track because that actually leads us into the bonus sheet for this set as well, by the way. The Spider-Man
Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Yeah. So Spider-Man's got a bonus sheet very similar to Final Fantasy, where they're pulling direct inspiration from a lot of comic book covers, but also like clippets from inside of like stories as well. And yeah, these are just bonus selection cards. These are all reprint cards. They're not entering standard legality, but they're just, you get a bonus option every once in a while that you can sometimes
entering arena, baby.
Some of these are entering arena for the first time. Stuff like Winds of Change. Did you see that?
Yes, dude. Bro, I'm excited about Arachnogenesis.
Yeah, Arachnogenesis is very good. There are some very cool ones, like I said, entering arena. Maybe you're thinking Mystic Confluence is one of those as well. Mystic Confluence is
I like
that's a very cool one entering in. But then also just like overall staples that we love playing in our format as well. We've got Path to Exile in here, like you had mentioned, Arachnogenesis, Heroic Intervention, Opposition Agent. That one's super cool. I like that one a lot.
Agent Venom too.
Yeah, Leyline Bindings in here. You had mentioned Mindbreak Trap. There was Traumatize as well. Big Dumb Stupid Mill Spell. Like all kinds of really cool stuff. These are, now to the credit as well, these are going to be popping up a good bit more rare than the Final Fantasy ones as well.
1 in 24 packs?
Something to that degree.
Essentially so 1 per box.
1, maybe 2 if you're lucky per booster box. So these are going to be quite rare to come by, but man, they look so cool. I'm very excited to maybe try to get one of those along the line.
Dude, the Ponder looks so good.
I like that one a lot.
Pull that thing up.
There it is. There's your Ponder.
Wow, it looks so good.
Let's see. Any others I wanted to talk about? I guess let's talk about Jonah Jameson briefly. I think this card's very silly.
Oh, it's so good. And then I've got one more to talk about as well, but let's talk Jameson first.
All right, yeah, I'll wrap up my cards I want to talk about with J. Jonah Jameson because this one's very funny as well. 2 in a red for a legendary human citizen. He's a 2/2. When Jameson enters, you suspect up to 1 target creature. A suspected creature has menace and can't block. And then just in general, whenever a creature you control with menace attacks, create a treasure token.
Dude, let me talk about why the flavor of this is so perfect. Because Jameson specifically does not investigate. He makes no clues. Despite owning the newspaper, no investigation being done. Just profit off of suspecting people for being a menace. They popped off with the design of this one. It's absolutely amazing. So good, dude.
And just like menace is just such an easy keyword that you can like pass around to your entire board of token or non-token. This thing does not care what kind of creature swings in. Is like, does it have menace? Hey, by the way, some of Commander's most all-star treasure creators, guess which of those are? That's
Professional Facebreaker.
Professional
Menace
Facebreaker.
Naturally.
Mm-hmm. That's stupid. I think also has menace.
It's definitely double strike. I think it's double strike menace.
That's so good, dude.
So good.
Yeah,
just big fan of J. Jonah.
Popping out treasures like mad is very, very silly. I one more quick I want to talk about as well, just because I like these kinds of cards. There's a fun uncommon called Chameleon, Master of Disguise.
Ooh, I'm very excited about him.
This one's so dope. 3 and a blue for a 2/3 legendary human shapeshifter villain. Has mayhem for 2 and a blue, and you can have Chameleon enter as a copy of a creature you control, except its name is Chameleon, Master of Disguise. It's Sakashima.
Which Sakashima?
The original.
That one can copy your opponent's creatures.
Yeah. Okay. Quotations. It's
actually, John. No, it's cool. It's Sakashima because, like you said, it gets around the legendary rule by changing the name. It's similar to like Mishra's War Form, being able to make a copy of something from that Mishra from the Brothers War Commanders. Yep. Very, very cool. I mentioned this in our Discord, which you can get to link below. I have a Volo Itinerant Scholar and Folk Hero deck that just cares about cloning Volo as many times as you can and then drawing the deck out 13-ish cards at a time. And not only will he trigger Folk Hero because he's a human, he will write villain in the journal. He then comes in and can make a copy of Volo, except its name is Chameleon. So it makes it is still a legendary copy, so you can't make further copies of it to get around the legendary rule, but the fact that it just is another copy of my commander, and if you're playing a commander that you care about, this is another copy of your commander. Really, really cool card. Just stellar design.
All right, what else you got?
Last one I want to talk about is Rent is Due.
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts on this one, John. So Rent is Due is a new white enchantment, and it's a single white mana. At the beginning of your end step, you may tap 2 untapped creatures and or treasures you control, specifically treasures. If you do, draw a card, otherwise sacrifice this enchantment. I like this card a lot.
I think it's conditional, but I think it's okay.
What I love is that you don't have to sacrifice the treasures. You just wave them in front of your landlord and say, I got it, don't worry. And then you can move on about your time and draw a card. I think in the current era of Commander, where treasures are so prevalent and like every deck is playing treasures to some extent, I would be hard pressed to find one of my decks that does not make treasures one way or another, let alone if you're playing like Smothering Tithe or something that just genuinely generates a ton of treasures. Playing a Rent is Due, I think will, over the 3 turns, will probably draw you 3 cards, and that is a very slow Ancestral Recall, which is what this feels like.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. This maybe just feels a little too slow to me because like a lot of these kinds of cards, like obviously it's at a low mana cost that there's like the potential to get it down kind of early, but then you run the risk of
turn 1.
Nah, not really, I suppose, unless you're sitting behind some instant like turn 1 like
Make
treasure creating or creature. Like again, you could tap creatures with this too. That's
I think it's good in a token deck. Like anything that's going wide with tokens where you're like, yeah, these 2 soldiers can tap. Like, who cares about that? But anything in like that, which I do think those decks probably need the most help. Go wide token decks don't typically have a ton of ways to draw a lot of cards. So if you can treat this like a Phyrexian Arena in those decks where the downside is just tapping 2 creatures, I think that you're in a good spot with it. And I actually really love the design of cheap cards that are not meant to be played on turn 1, because you can play this on turn 3 or turn 4 and something else, and continue to get value. So this could easily cost 4 mana just because of the requirement that it takes of like, oh, I'm either going to sacrifice it or I have to tap 2 creatures or 2 treasures. But the fact that it costs 1 is great because it's almost free to play that late in the game.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely very fun and flavorful. And I think as a whole,
that's the Spider-Man set.
It's looking very cool, honestly. Like
I like it a lot.
I think originally going into this, I think like the bar was maybe a little low because like this sort of maybe felt a little weird for Magic. And I think to an extent it still kind of is, knowing that there is more Marvel coming up as well. Like with this is the start of like the Universes Beyond collab that we have not yet seen. You know, every other collab that has come to Magic has been basically one and done, and that's it. And we don't see those again. Marvel, heck, prior to this booster set, we've already seen 2 different secret layer drops for Marvel, and we know that there is more coming. So just like there is an era of this that sort of feels like, oh, you kind of have to start enjoying Marvel to kind of appreciate this kind of booster set. And I know that is not for everybody. I know there are people who just still do not like Universes Beyond crossover stuff. But if you just get past that point and understand that, you know, that we are still having this game for fun, you are supposed to be having fun when doing things like building decks and playing at tournaments and going to Commander Night and doing whatever, you know, just go and try to have some fun with this, right? Spider-Man is all about enjoying the fun of life. You know, you can have, you can enjoy yourself, you know. I'm losing my words here, like what I'm talking about. Like,
let me alley-oop you here, because here's what I was going to say that seems weird about this set is that there isn't any magic in it, like from a literal like gameplay perspective. We have like radioactive spiders and things like that and you know, tech. If you want to consider that as like magic, but if you think about it, like there's no like fire spells, there's no ice spells like we just got with like Final Fantasy is full of magic as our last Universes Beyond set. But I think to what you were saying, the real magic is fun and just try to have some fun with it. Like
is that in that degree, this is not too far off from like what they called magic as far as like say Fallout. You know what I mean?
Or Edge of Eternities, dude. Like
technically speaking,
they're leaning really hard into sci-fi is fantasy, and I like that a lot. I like what they're doing with it. But I think that takes us to the end of the episode, doesn't it, John?
Yeah, that swings us right into the end of this episode. Oh, I took you all episode to do a swinging joke.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, this has been the MTG Thoughtcast. I've been Joseph. That's been John. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think about the Spider-Man set. If you guys may have made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time here on the MTG Thoughtcast.